This video is for people who are at the end of the championship and they must perform. They know that they've got to a position in the championship that's really important, but they can't let their nerves get to them.
Ain't afraid to bare my soul, ain't afraid to walk on coals. I ain't gonna tell no lies, I ain't gonna apologize. Can't stop me now, can't stop me now. I'm just doing what I do.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Race Driver Coach Show, and just putting this video out because SA Power asked me the question about that they're at the end of the championship, they're just about leading the championship. Like 4 points, I think he said. But if they slightly slip up, they know they're going to lose the championship. And this makes them nervous. This puts them in a mindset where they know they're not fully in control and their worst case scenario might happen. And it's performing when you're in that situation that people find difficult. And it's the same kind of thing when somebody is leading a race and there's one lap to go and they completely crumble, or they're just a mess in the head because they know they've just got to get that car home. They've just got to do one more lap, but they're so tense that they end up messing up a lot of the times, and they're just not in control like they were at the start of the race or like they were at the start of the championship. But I think you've got to understand, the first thing is, what got you there in the first place? What kind of mindset got you to the point where you are about to win the title or about to win that race? And you start to say, and you start to answer that, should I say, I was focusing on X, whatever that is. I was in this kind of mood. I was looking and thinking these kind of thoughts. You have to get this down on paper. You have to know exactly the person you were and how you were operating when you were driving at your best. And that's the person you need to recreate. Every time you get into that car, you focus on what they used to focus on. It doesn't matter that the points, everybody's close now. It doesn't matter that you could lose this. It was the same at the beginning of the season. You could have lost races there. You could have crashed there. You could have tensed up there, but you didn't. You performed as you needed to. And that is because you are more focused on the thing that's in front of you, which is the next corner or the next session, maximizing the next session. Your focus was completely on what have I got to do now. As soon as you come out of the now, as soon as you start to worry about what could happen in the future, or you allow yourself to think too much about the past, it goes into defense mode. You cannot perform at your best if you're in defense mode. Same in the car, same out the car, same in motorsport, same in business. Everything you depend on when it comes to getting the best out of yourself is all about being in the now. And you've got to tell the mind, tell the brain what to focus on now, what's coming up next. And as a driver, when you're getting into that car and you go into the race weekend and you know that you nearly won the championship, you've got to be like you were in the past and what got you there to that point. And that is, right, it's a practice session. What's the most important thing I need to do in this practice session? I need to figure out how to take the most important corners of the circuit. There's going to be about 3 or 4 of them, the most vital ones for a lap time. And that's all you do for the first practice. You make sure you master and you get them corners right first, and then you're going to be somewhere there. Second session, you're just brushing up on the driving, trying a few different things. And then when it comes to qualifying, you're just saying, right, I've done it all now. All I've got to do is repeat what I've just done in free practice, in the practice sessions. Make sure you execute their main corners. When it gets to the race, you're there to go forward. You're there to focus on the next corner. And as soon as you've exited turn 13, your mind is totally focused on corner 14 and how to take that. And you keep your mind very shallow, very short-term based, and you just go for it. And as soon as you start to think about the championship points, as soon as you start to think about where that other person is, and oh my gosh, they're a second a lap quicker, before you allow yourself to get there, or when that starts to happen, let me correct myself. When that starts to happen, you will notice that you tense up. You will notice your body do something. You stop breathing, you get worried, you start to ask questions, start to think about things that are not helping you. That's when you stop. You break that pattern and you go back to the person you were. And you do that by changing your body when you're in the car. Put a massive smile on your face. Break the pattern of you thinking about what happens if and the worst case scenario, put a smile on your face and say, right, next corner, what have I got to do? Get a good exit. And you keep breaking that pattern. So if the brain wants to take you into worry phase, into defense, no. You stop yourself and you bring yourself back to how you were. The kind of person that would get into the car with a spring in his step or her step and make sure that you focus on what you've got to do. The brain basically needs to be told what to do in the short term. And if you're distracting it by saying, worst case scenario, what if I lose this? It's going to tense up. So you keep bringing it back into line. You will get distracting thoughts. You will have thoughts about these things that make you underperform, but you keep bringing it back in line. No, focus on next corner. And you keep doing that and keep doing that 1,000 times if you need to until it listens, until it says, okay, I think we better focus on the job in hand. Because there isn't anything to lose. You are in that position because you drove a certain way. You keep doing that. Okay, when it comes to the final race, you don't do something stupid and try and take 5 cars in one corner because you know it's not going to work. You'd end up in a shunt or losing 5 positions. So you don't do anything silly, but you've got to get into your rhythm. You've got to get into the flow, and the way you do that is keeping things very short, focus-wise. What have I got to do now and next? That's it. And you perform at your best. No defense mind needed. It's just go. Let everybody else do that. Let everybody else who's fighting the championship worry and try and tread on eggshells. You're there to stand out. And you know what? If you don't win the title, you don't win the title. It's not the worst thing in the world. If you're putting so much emphasis on, I must win this title because it means this, it means my ego's going to get stroked, it means I mean more than everybody else, you're going to feel pressure. But if you turn up, you give it your best, and all you're trying to do is win that one session. You're trying to get the best out of you for the practice. You're trying to get the best out of yourself for that qualifying session, and the best out of yourself each racing lap. And you keep the focus there. Everything else can do one. Whether you win or lose, you can't even control it because the car might break down. Somebody might hit you from behind. So your focus is to be as fast as you can every single corner. And I bet they won't even touch you then, because they'll be worrying about other stuff. They'll be worrying about where you are, but you're too focused on driving and staying in the moment. And you practice this all the time. In life, if you're going to phone somebody up to ask them for sponsorship, you don't worry about them saying no. You say, how could I possibly offer them something, or at least have a discussion and see where it goes? There's no feeling towards win or lose. As soon as, again, you put too much weight on the loss, you're going to get nervous when you're that close to making something happen. Just go. Be carefree. Stay mentally close to where you are now and just tell the brain what it needs to do. And that gets you to perform at your best. And hopefully that's enough to win the championship. If not, you go again next year. It's not the end of the world. So turn up with a smile on your face, motivating everybody around you, saying we're going to give it everything we've got. And no matter what result we come out with, we're going to feel good because we showed up today.
Can't stop.